There are many ways to enter a handstand. The most common way is to kick up one leg at a time. Other ways include jumping into it, cartwheeling from the side, or even pressing slowly and with control up into a handstand, which of course is more advanced. But for now, let's focus on the regular kick up because it's not as simple as most people think, and a lot of people actually get it wrong. In the beginning, as you're getting comfortable just getting upside down, it really doesn't matter if you're not too technical about it, but over time you do need to adopt the right technique so that you can kick up efficiently into a handstand and give yourself a chance to balance. The kick up is generally done in a standing lunge position as you reach your hands forward to the floor and then your legs come up. In the beginning, it is a good idea to start with your hands on the floor already so you can just focus on bringing the legs up first. As you start with your hands on the floor, you can start in a downward facing dog position, create a V shape with your body, and then bringing one foot slightly forward in the middle and bending it. So that's going to be the leg that's going to push away from the ground. And then the second leg is going to be straightening behind you. And that's the leg that's going to kick up and generate the momentum up towards a handstand. So it is the combination of the pushing leg and the kicking leg that is going to bring your hips all the way up over your shoulders so that you can enter a handstand. One common mistake that I see often with beginners is that they just do a donkey kick, where they just throw their legs aimlessly into the air, hoping that they can find a handstand. But that's not going to work. You want to have the kicking leg nice and straight the whole time. You want to think of it as a long, stiff stick that's going to kick up and drive you all the way up. And as you kick up, you want to think about your hips traveling all the way on top of your shoulders, and you also want to allow your shoulders to open, because if you are scared and keep your shoulders closed, then it's going to create an arch in the handstand, and that's not what you want. Also, remember that the gaze is always down and between the hands. Resist the temptation to look behind you or tuck the chin in, because that's going to throw you off balance. As you practice in the beginning, you will either not kick up high enough, where you just go halfway and come down to the floor, which is fine, or you might get very excited and kick up a little bit too much. This is where you might actually go over your center of balance and potentially fall. And this is why in the beginning, it's a great idea to practice with a wall behind you so you can calibrate, and eventually you definitely need to learn how to fall safely out of a handstand, which is something I do cover in another video. As you first start to learn the kick up, the best drill that you can do is to practice against the wall, where you kick up towards the wall, but with the goal of touching it as softly and as quietly as possible. In the beginning, it's totally normal that you will smack the wall pretty hard, but you want to develop that control so that you can start to touch the wall more and more softly and quietly. When I work with beginning students, I typically recommend the L-shaped handstand or the split leg handstand, because you don't want to throw both legs up at the same time. You want to have your kicking leg driving first and then the other pushing leg lagging behind you. This is gonna slow you down and it's gonna give you a little bit better chance to balance. So as you're practicing the kick up, take your kicking leg all the way up to the wall as softly and as quietly as possible. And to go down, it's the same thing. You're gonna bring your feet down one leg at a time so that you can land softly on the ground. Try to not bring both feet down at the same time, because it's not gonna feel nice or it's not gonna look nice. One general rule of thumb for a nice and successful kick up is to be able to generate momentum 3/4 of the way as you go up, and then to slow it down the last 1/4 so you can hopefully find a nice balanced position at that point. Now, how do we control the momentum and slow down? Well, the best way to do that is to use your hands and fingers to press really hard into the ground. You can think of your hands as your brake pedals. So the harder you press into the ground, literally like a braking pedal motion, it's gonna help you slow down. One common mistake that happens with a lot of people when learning handstands is that they become a bit too reliant on the wall and that it becomes a bit of a crutch. So my recommendation is that as soon as you get sort of comfortable with kicking up to the wall, you wanna move away from it. You wanna be able to practice your kick-ups off the wall and away from the wall. And of course, this is gonna feel scary, but this is why it's really important to learn how to bail safely out of a handstand too, so you can combine it with your kick-up process. Another mistake that I do see with people practicing is that when they kick up, the shoulder actually goes past the wrist. You don't want that because once that happens, it's really hard to recover. Remember, the alignment is that the shoulder always needs to be on top of the wrist. And as you kick up, all you want to do is to bring the hips over your shoulders and your wrists so you can find that nice alignment of a handstand. That's really all you need to know about kicking up. It's a lot of practice with the wall and off the wall. So go ahead and try to implement some of this stuff on your own. And as always, let me know if you have any questions. I'm always happy to help. Take care.